I think it's time to admit what many people are thinking, but few people are saying right now. The Kansas City Chiefs and their dynasty is coming to an end. And that's not to say that they are totally out of it for this season. I still think that they have a good shot at winning the Super Bowl. But if you look at their last 5 games, they're sitting at a record of 2-3, and their only wins have come over the Raiders and the Dolphins, which the Dolphins win is a quality win, I'll give them that. But they've lost to the Broncos, Eagles, and Packers now in those 5 games and have not looked like the team that they were used to seeing out of Kansas City. And a big part of that is due to their offense. In those 5 games, they have put up 9 points, 21 points, 17 points, 31 points, and 19 points. That means that they've put up over 20 points only twice in that span, and over 30 points only once. And their offense has just struggled to put up points, especially in the second half. In a few of those games, they have not scored a single point in the second half and have totally and completely fallen apart. Patrick Mahomes is still making good throws, and he's still making good reads, and I still do think that he is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL this season, but their receiving core has just been so lackluster and subpar this season, and they lead the NFL in drops by a wide margin. And even Travis Kelce just hasn't looked the same as he normally has. And I know he's putting up good stats. This season, he's still probably the top tight end in the entire league. He has 74 catches for 813 yards and 5 touchdowns, but only has 1 touchdown in the past 5 games. And that's the 5 games that I've mentioned where they've really seemed to take a downward spiral this season. Their defense has actually been really solid, and normally, if the Chiefs were only putting up this many points, they would be getting blown out in games because their defense couldn't hold anybody. But their defense has actually been keeping them in games this season, and I've been really impressed by their defensive efforts. But if we look at the entirety of the game, their offense just cannot get it done in the crucial clutch moments in the past few weeks. And of course, they had the big win against Las Vegas where they won by 2 touchdowns and they beat the Dolphins. But even in that Dolphins game, they looked uninspiring and almost blew a 21-point lead in the fourth quarter. And they were up 21-0 at halftime in that game, and they allowed the Dolphins to get back within 7 and have a chance to tie the game late in the fourth quarter. And if we look at the AFC standings right now, of course, Kansas City is still comfortably in first place in the AFC West. But if you look at the rest of the standings, they're behind the Dolphins, behind the Ravens, and a half game behind the Jacksonville Jaguars, who play on Monday Night Football. And this is a place that they have not been this late into the season in quite some time. They're at risk of being only the 4th seed, and as of right now, they would have to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. And while they would still be at home, Pittsburgh provides a lot of challenges for them, especially because Pittsburgh has such a dominant defense, and their offense has come alive as of late. With Pittsburgh playing such a strong defensive game and being able to get after the quarterback, this will give Patrick Mahomes even less time than he has had lately. And if their receivers are not able to catch the ball and Mahomes can't trust them, the Steelers have one of the best defenses in the league and will be able to bottle up Travis Kelce and take him completely out of the Chiefs' game plan. So this is a game where the Chiefs may be on upset watch. Now, while I still do think that they will win that game, especially against an inexperienced quarterback like Kenny Pickett, this Steelers team, I will never count them out even against the Chiefs because of how the Chiefs have been playing lately and how poor they have been playing. And while an 8-4 record is objectively not terrible, the fact that they've been losing games in the fashion that they have been is showing that they're not as dominant as they have been in the past. And I was talking to someone the other day, and I was saying how they're not looking like the dominant team that they've been for the last 5 or 6 years. They're not throwing deep balls and completing 75-yard touchdowns, and their offense has been a lot more methodical and has become almost a running offense. Isaiah Pacheco has been really impressive for me, but this team is not built around running the football. They have arguably the best quarterback in the league and someone who is projected by many to be in the GOAT conversation by the time it's all said and done. But this past season, they have resorted to running the ball a lot more. And it's been weird to see because without Tyreek Hill, last year they were still able to go to the Super Bowl and end up winning it against the Eagles, putting up 38 points. But this season, something has changed, and they just haven't been able to put up the same numbers, especially in the last 5 weeks, as they have been in the past. And this is concerning if you're a Chiefs fan, because their offense was always their calling card. And now it's not even like they just come back down to earth and they're still averaging like 26 points a game. In the last 5 weeks, like I said before, they've only put up over 30 points once and over 20 points twice. And that's not even an above average offense. If they had put up 24 points a game in that span, they would still be, 25 points. They would have been 4-1, but they couldn't. And 25 points is about a league average offense this season. And even going back to the beginning of the season, they've struggled to put points on the board. They've had a 140-point game against the Chicago Bears, but that's against the Chicago Bears, especially when they were struggling mightily. And their offense has just been completely inconsistent. They went from scoring 20 points against the Lions and 17 points against the Jaguars to only putting up 41 points against the Bears, but then right back down to 23 points against the Jets, and then up to 27 against the Vikings, but then down to only 19, and then they've been up to 31 against the Chargers, and etc. and etc. And their offense has just been inconsistent enough that it doesn't matter how good their defense has been, that their offense just cannot put the points on the board, especially in clutch situations, to be competitive in the loaded AFC this year. Not gonna lie, I would not be surprised if they got taken out in the divisional round this coming up season, especially if they have to play a team like Jacksonville or Baltimore, who are very likely matchups for the Chiefs. And the Jacksonville Jaguars already played them very well. Their defense held them to 17 points, and if they had been able to capitalize a couple more times, they easily would have been able to beat the Chiefs in that game. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that the Chiefs are still a championship contender, or do you think their time of dominance has come to an end? God bless you all. Hope you have an amazing day.